Hi there, I'm Christine the Gemini Stitcher and welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, yes, this is normally a Monday Makes and Plans vlog, but because we chose today to do the reveal of the Andes jacket that I've been doing as a collaboration with the lovely Mandy from Make It So, I'm devoting this Monday Makes and Plans solely to the Andes jacket, and then I'll do a little catch up on Wednesday of what I made other than this jacket last week. So I hope that's okay with you all. It's taking front and centre at the moment is the Andes jacket. When I start talking about it in detail, I'm going to move it out of the way and then there's more room for me and my other info. I hope you like the little introduction of me doing my little dance in the rain, because it has been raining an awful lot in Lancashire for May, and the whole of the UK, to be quite honest with you. So this jacket is definitely going to get warm, unfortunately. Probably on and off throughout the summer, I think. So let's just have a little talk about what the Andes jacket is and what you would need if you want to make it. So we'll move Rita out of the way and bring her back in a little bit at the end when we're talking about my jacket. So see you later, Rita. So the Andes jacket is an itched stitch pattern, which I think I've only ever made one of their patterns once before. And I've got to say, the instructions on the pattern and the size inclusivity was second to none. So if you're fancying making the Andes jacket but you're a little bit nervous thinking it's beyond your capabilities, just give it a go. There's nothing I would consider anything more than a beginner stroke intermediate sewer can handle. The only thing I would say is that there's a lot of top stitching. So if you want to get ahead on your top stitching, do the Andes jacket. You'll be doing it with your eyes shut when you're finished. So let's talk about the pattern, and some images, stock images of the pattern are going to pop up either here or there as I'm talking. If I look down, I'm sorry, I've got my notepad with lots of notes so I don't forget to tell you anything. So what are the main features of the Andes jacket? The big one for me that I think is brilliant is there are optional cup sizes on this princess themed jacket, from an A all the way to a double D. So for us larger ladies, brilliant pattern. It has a lined hood and an unlined bodice. The sleeves have a diagonal seam down them, and there's princess seams down the front and back to give it shape. The pockets I really liked because they are incorporated into the front princess seams and they've got zips on them. It's got a high-low hem, which is great for hiding your bootylicious rear at the back, particularly the length I did it. It's perfect. And it's designed for soft shell fabrics. Now, soft shell fabrics are a semi-waterproof fabric on the outside with a fleece liner bonded to it. So quite a good one for cooler days in the spring and summer, and also through the winter, I would say. So what size did I choose to make? Well, my body measurements will pop up here and they will stay there throughout the whole of this vlog. I did the size 6 and a B cup. So the measurements for a size 6 B cup, actual body measurements, are a bust of 36 and 5/8, so 36 and a half-ish. Hips of 38 and a half. and waist of 30 and 7/8. Now, the reason I picked that size was because of the waist. Because it fits, is quite a fitted jacket, I didn't want it to be too tight around the waist. So my waist is 30, so I went for 30 and 7/8, just for good measure. The actual garment measurements, which you should always look at, come out at a bust for the size 6B cup. The bust is actually 41, so that gives you a good 4 inches of wiggle room. Hips of 41 and 1/8, and a waist of 36 and 7/8. So a few inches of wiggle room in the body area is what it's telling us. So how did I find the fit? Brilliant. It's a perfect fit on me. Really, really happy with how it fits. I'm scooching to one side because I'm hopefully going to put a little video up now, not me dancing in the rain, just to show you the fit of the jacket. I love the way the sleeves fit on the shoulders. I usually have problems where I have to do narrow shoulder adjustment. Didn't do that. Love it round the bust and the back area. It's a snug fit, but soft shell, certainly the soft shell that I bought, has got stretch in it anyway. So yeah, I'm happy with the fit. However, if I was going to make it up as a winter coat, because this is a spring summer jacket, then I would probably go up to a size 8, just so that I had extra room for the extra layer of clothing that you wear in the winter. So let's get down to the nitty-gritty of what I experienced when I was sewing the days. Tip-top tips. Use clips, don't use pins, hardly at all, because pins pierce holes into the soft shell, which can be difficult to get them out. You can try holding your steamy iron over but not touching the soft shell, and sometimes that shrinks the hole back into place if you make any mistakes and you've got a line of stitching you need to get rid of. But I would suggest you use clips. I certainly did, apart from when I was putting the main zipping down the front. Use a microtex needle. Now, when you're sewing, it's important to use the right kind of needle for the fabric that you're sewing. And with soft shell fabric, always use a microtex needle. You've got less chance of it leaving a mark if you have to do any unpicking, and it's not going to snag the fabric. So that's the tips that I'm giving you before you even start. So there was a bit of interfacing needed to be put in. I used a medium weight woven interfacing. Always use woven interfacing in my garments. It's a little bit more expensive than your standard veiling interfacing, but I prefer it. And if I'm spending a long time making a garment, I'm going to put the best in it. And my opinion, the best interfacing is always woven. So I used a medium weight woven interfacing in this jacket. So all was going well, swimmingly. And then I had to put the pockets in with the zips. Now, one thing I would say is, because these are, you look at the pattern and you think that it is a welt pocket with a zip. It kind of is a half welt pocket, because you don't have to do the full square. You're just going to do that side, and up that side, if that makes sense. And then the top bit is where it joins with the other princess seam. So it's a little bit easier than your standard zip pocket. It says that you need 2 7-inch zips for your pockets. You can use bigger zips if you haven't got that size, because a lot of people, 7-inch is an odd size, and they'd say, oh, I've got 8-inch, better go and buy some zips. Don't bother, use your 8-inch ones, you can cut them down. Now, the one thing I would say when you're doing these zips is Microtex needles are a finer needle, so be very careful when you're sewing over where the zip is. Slow right down and potentially hand crank over when you're going over the zipper tee, just so that you can wiggle in between them and you don't break a needle. So once you've got the pockets sewn in, the zips sewn in and the pocket bags sewn in, you can then attach the side front, and I would suggest when you're doing that to keep the zipper foot on, because you're going to come down near that zip and then you'll have to change your zipper foot. Well, I did anyway. So when I did the second one, I just kept the zipper foot on, so the whole of that front side seam with the zipper foot. The other thing that I did when I was attaching the front side seams was I undid the zip halfway. And the reason for that is so that you can sew from the top halfway down to where, just before where the zip tab is, stop with your needle down, lift your presser foot up, zip the zip up, and then that tab, bulky tab, is out of the way, and then carry on and do the rest of your seam. Now, the inside finish, it doesn't tell you how to do it, it just says your finish of choice. So soft shell, strictly speaking, does not need seam finishing because it will not fray. So you can leave it as is. The other two options are to overlock them or to bind them all. Now, I decided that binding them, because of all the seams and it was quite a snug fitting jacket, might end up making the seams look bulky. And I didn't want to leave them raw, so I used overlocking. I'll just grab Rita. So you can see my seams on the inside, I've overlocked, and I've used colourful rainbow thread. Now, I only had the rainbow thread in the two looper threads, and then I just had plain navy for the needle threads. So you don't need to buy 4 lots of rainbow thread, just buy 2 and put them in your loopers to create that effect. So I overlocked the whole of the inside. Good job, Reed. So the next thing you're going to do is attach the hood. Now, it's a 3-part hood, I don't know if you can see, with the seam up the middle. And it's lined. So you make the hood twice and then join them together. Now, being me, I can't do a garment without making a mistake and unpicking. And if you're the sort of person who never unpicks, well done. We all do it. So when you're attaching the hood, when you're doing your top stitching, just be careful with that the other side of the hood isn't in the way, because I was top stitching one side, and when I got to here, this bit ended up under here and caught in, so I had to start unpicking it. Luckily, it didn't leave too many holes in my fabric and I was safe. So yeah, be careful when you're top stitching around the hood. Make sure the other half of the hood is out of the way. Learn from my stupid mistakes. The next thing I'd say when you're making it, the hood. Obviously, I had a few problems with the hood. So you've got your outer hood and your inner hood, and you want it to end up looking that way round. And it's a bit of a head scratcher. So you tack your outside to your outside, straight forward. Leave it down like that. And then you're meant to have this wrong way onto your bodice and sandwich it and sew them all together. Stupid me had it the right way round, but on the hood side. Duh. So when I turned it, it was the wrong way round, if you know what I mean. So be careful even when you think you've got it clipped in the right way round. Just pull it up and put it into the hood and double check that it's going to be that way round before you sew it. Another seam ripping session ensued, but it was within a seam, so I was pretty safe on that one. Lucky. So then we carried on and got to the sleeves. Now, when you're making the sleeves up, step 49 tells you to turn them up before you've even attached them to your bodice. I didn't do that. I left turning the sleeve hems up until the very end when I tried the jacket on because I wanted to check the length was right. So maybe that's something you would do. Step 49, don't do it, just do it at the end. So then you just join your sleeves together, pop them in the round, no problem. Then you do more top stitching. Every seam that you do on this jacket is top stitched on the outside, which gives a lovely finish, but it's a lot of top stitching. So you have to top stitch all the way around your sleeve head. And I found this quite tricky, if I'm honest. My sewing machine, my brother, has a removable sleeve arm on it, and even then it was too tight to fit round. So, yeah, it took a while, is all I'm going to say, to top stitch around those sleeve heads. And it might be that you don't bother, because who's going to notice? That's entirely up to you. I am tempted, if I did it again, not to top stitch around the sleeve heads. Oh my goodness, just because my machine simply couldn't cope with it at all. So we're nearly done. You've just got to put your facings on, very straightforward. Then it's the main zip, the main event that everybody is scared of, but honest to God, it is super, super easy. You literally put your zip that way around, get your zipper foot on, sew it up. The bottom of it needs to be just shy of the seam for your bottom facing. And when you get to the top, mine was too long. Don't panic. It's better to have a zip that, even though it's an open-ended zip, that's too long than too short. For obvious reasons, you can shorten it and it's not that difficult. So what you do is, now I've left this little seam open here so that you can hopefully see where it folds over at a 90-degree angle at the top, and then when you're doing your top stitching, it catches it in all the way down. Then simply snip off the excess zip. Then, as a belt and braces, I don't know if you can see, I've done some hand stitching at the top of the zip just to make sure my zip tab doesn't pull off. And there we have it. My first Sundays jacket. So let's put it on, then you can see. Now you can see it is a good snug fit, but that's the style of the jacket. I'm happy with where my sleeve heads are. They're sitting quite well. So if you've got quite broad shoulders, you might want to do a wide shoulder adjustment. The hood is a good size. I mean, I've got a little head and always struggle with hoods, but I'm quite happy with that. It's not too big. Now, you do have the option of putting a drawstring in, but I chose not to, and I'm glad I didn't now because it really, really does not need it. So, yeah, I was initially making this as a dog walking coat, but to be quite honest, I think it's too nice. We'll see. I think I'll give it a trial run this afternoon and see if any of my dog walking pals say I'm overdressed. Because we all go in our scrubs when we're walking across the fields, and I might look a bit ridiculous in this. Maybe it's me. Summer day out, Mac, instead, or both. So, what's my overall experience been of making the Andes jacket? The pattern instructions were brilliant. It took you there was so much detail in them. Every step of the way told you exactly what to do, even told you when you should be finishing your seams, which a lot of patterns tend to neglect. Lots of images to help. Not too fabric hungry. It takes from 1.8 to 2.8 meters of fabric. So I bought 2 meters because where I got this fabric from, the fabric I got from Little Legs Fabrics a couple of months ago. If they've still got it in stock, I will pop a link below. I bought 2 meters of it and I've got about half a meter left because that is the other thing I've not mentioned, my alterations. I altered the sleeves by about a good 3 inches, and because this is a 2-part sleeve, I shortened it in the bottom half of the sleeve and just got away with it, I think. If I turn it to the inside, you can see that's where the seam is that goes round, and I've still got that little bit there in the seam. So if you need to alter it any more than about 3 inches, I would say you're going to have to alter it in the top bit as well, which potentially could be a little bit complicated for me anyway. So the length of the jacket, I decided I wanted it to come on the pattern. It sort of comes there, lands on your hips. I decided I wanted it a little bit longer. I'll zip it up and you can see it zipped up, shall I? There we go. Loving the fit. And the back, it's a high-low hem, so because I came lower at the front, the back covers my bum, which is what I wanted. Loving the big zip pockets. Now, the zips, I got matching zips from the zipper station. So I got a 75 centimetre zip, which in hindsight I could have got away with a 70 centimetre zip because I shortened the bodice. And then the side zips, I got to match. Now, they were open-ended zips, but because you're fitting them in and sewing round them, I got away with it. They're slightly chunkier. Excuse the dog, it's getting for tea time. They're slightly chunkier than the pattern recommends, but they've worked out just fine. And I prefer them to match the main zip, and I think it gives it a nice professional finish. So I've got my Andes jacket. It can rain cats and dogs all it wants, and I'm going to stay dry and look summery as well. So if you're in the UK and you're fed up with the rain, then stop making your summer garments and get yourselves a soft shell Andes jacket, and then you can have your summery dress underneath, and it doesn't matter what the weather does. Thanks for watching, and as I said at the beginning, I will be doing my little catch-up of my makes and plans on Wednesday. So if you've not subscribed to my channel, then It's worth doing because it means that you'll get notified when I put my vlogs up, and sometimes I put them up on odd days and try and catch you out. Hope you've enjoyed my vlog. Now, as I said at the beginning, I've done this as a collab with Mandy from Make It So, and hers has gone up today as well. Once it's gone live, I will put the link in the details below. But if you don't want to miss out on it, go over to her channel and subscribe to her channel as well. And then when we do another collab, which I'm sure we will, you'll know all about it from both of us. That's it from me for today. I'm all Mandy's jacket out. And I've tested it in the rain. Works perfect. So, as I said, if you're interested in making one, brilliant pattern, brilliant instructions, can't say more than that. Take care and see you on Wednesday. Bye for now.